Greetings, YouTube viewers. It's Rick here at Rick's Automotive. Today we've got this 2006 Acura TSX, and with all types of warning lights on the dashboard. And one of those is a battery light, causing all the other lights to illuminate. This thing has low battery voltage. On the scan tool here, you'll see the duty cycle on the alternators. This thing's working its butt off trying to keep the engine running. And somewhere on here, I'm going to turn this off. You can see where it's got 8.5 volts of the battery. This thing's getting ready to, probably killing the battery, so I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. But in this video, we're going to show you how to replace the alternator on a 2006 Acura TSX 4-cylinder with a K24 engine. Let's get started. Got a TSX raised up a little bit in the air. Got some fender covers to protect the customer's paint. The alternator is directly below the power steering pump on the K-series engines. It's very easy to get to, at least in this chassis on the TSXs. This engine's in many different Honda and Acura vehicles. You know, Accord, CRVs, Elements, Civics. Some are easier than others. Definitely like the CRVs and Elements, it's tucked down in there pretty good because you don't have much room and get the core support. This is really easy to get to, so pretty excited about that. First thing we're going to do, since we're working with the alternator and the main battery line here that comes from the battery, we're going to disconnect the negative battery terminal. All right, got that off. Next, we're going to remove the drive belt or the serpentine belt. Got the drive belt off now. I just used a 14 millimeter long wrench and just pulled the tensioner towards the front of the car, towards myself, and just slid the belt off the power steering pump and then took it off the rest of the pulleys. So with the drive belt off, this is going to be a good time to inspect it for wear. I've already looked it over. This one looks pretty good because obviously this would be a great time to go ahead and replace it just because you got everything apart. But this one's okay. Wrench still has tension on it, so we're just going to let it sit against the mount there. It's not going to be in the way. Next, we're going to take these two 12 millimeter bolts out here that go through the power steering pump into the block. They hold the power steering pump on. We're not going to take the pump out of the car. We're just going to set it aside, so we don't need to open the system at all. There's no power steering fluid has to be drained, so this hose doesn't have to come off. This hose doesn't have to come off. It's just to move it out of the way that when we go to take the alternator out, you got more room to work with. Okay, with that bottom bolt out, you can now move the power steering pump to the side. You can see how much that opens that area up. Next, we're going to take, this is a 10 millimeter nut holding this main wire from the battery to the alternator. So I'm going to take that nut off. And then I already unplugged the green connector here. It just has a little push tab on it. Somewhere on here. There it is, on this side. So you just push that down like so, and it just slides right off. Now the wire is disconnected from the alternator and tucked away. Next, I'm going to take, there's 3 bolts holding this alternator on. You have the top one here. It's 12 millimeter. You have 2 more on the bottom. I'm not going to be able to show these to you, but there's 2 right here. There's one here, and there's one on this side. Those come out, and this thing just comes right out of here. Got all 3 bolts removed. Now I'm going to remove the alternator. All right, got the old alternator out. That definitely would have been easier using 2 hands, not having 1 hand holding the camera. But hey, it still came out very easily. I did tear my glove though, so I've got a new glove on. New alternator is nice and shiny and ready to go into the car. It is a remanufactured Honda unit. I've been doing this gig for about 20 years now, and in my personal opinion, nothing beats the quality and fitment of the OEM parts. There are certainly cheaper options out there. I know price sensitivity is the main reason why people tend to stay away from the OEM stuff. But I'm a freak on using OEM stuff because at the end of the day, I'm in business to make people happy, and I don't want customers to come back in a year or two saying, hey, my alternator is acting up again. Even though it's got a warranty on it, it's still going to be an inconvenience. It's going to make me look incompetent, or I don't even want to deal with it. I'd rather just know this thing's going to last a long time. This original one here is 2006. So this thing's 13 years old. I know that I can send this customer on their way, and they're going to have a quality unit on their car, and it's going to last hopefully just as long as the original one did. So, since this is a remanufactured unit, it does have a core, which means the box that this came in, this has to go into. And in order for you to get credit for that core, which I think was $50, you have to return it in the same box that this alternator came in. Even says right there as a reminder in case you forget. They also don't want you tearing this thing up. They don't want, don't cut it with a razor blade or a box knife. or rip it open like it's a Christmas present or something, or else they will reject the core as well and keep the original packing material inside as well. But we're going to go ahead and now put the nice shiny alternator into the car. I installed the new alternator. Got these bolts are tight. Plugs back, the plugs plug back in. This main feed from the main line from the batteries attached. 10mm on that is tight. Got the wiring harness attached back to the bracket. I'm going to go ahead and put the power steering pump back on, and then the drive belt back on. Got the power steering pump back on. Drive belts back on. Everything on this side is complete. Over to the battery side, we've connected the negative terminal on the battery. I'm going to go ahead and start the car with the scan tool connected and show you guys what the data looks like now with the new alternator. We're in the car now looking at the scan tool data. The alternator is working in about half as hard as it was before. I think it was 100%. Now we're in the 50s. That's awesome. That means you can see here too it's doing its job. It's not flatlining and just taking a nosedive. And see where the battery voltage. There we go. Battery voltage, yeah, about 14 volts, which is exactly where you want to be. You got the high beams on and a couple of other different loads. So that's exactly where you want to be. You can see here that looks great. So that's good news. That means that was definitely the cause of the customer's concern with all the dash lights on, which you can see here now there's no dash lights on. And all those lights were on because all the control modules like the SRS, the ABS, the PCM, they all had codes for low battery voltage just because it was, I think it was like 10 or 9 volts was what I've had before. So that's why those lights were on. So so that definitely brings this one to a conclusion. I've been doing import performance, diagnostics, repairs, preventative maintenance for over 20 plus years, almost exclusively for the Honda and Acura brands and Japanese imports. I do work on anything and everything, so you'll see a variety of things in this channel. But if you drive a Honda or Acura, a Japanese import, you're going to see a lot of stuff in this channel for you. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I appreciate you taking time to watch these videos, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching.